I had just walked off the stage. I'd been speaking together with my sister in front of hundreds of people at this conference in Germany about magnetism, about manifestation, about business, about masculine and feminine energy. And the room was electric. And I was walking off that stage, feeling it, that thing that you feel when you've just given everything, and the room gave it back. And this man walked up to me. He looked at me and said, "You are such a radiant, powerful soul. Do you have someone in your life who can actually hold that?" And I remember I smiled. I said something, I don't even remember what I said. But in that moment, in my body, I knew. Not kind of knew. I knew. The cat won't bark. I'd been waiting, hoping, trying to change something that was never going to change. And in that moment, that truth became undeniable. That day, my sister and I walked through the city. I was basically crying the entire day, and I told her what I knew I had to do, what decision I had made. And I said it out loud before I was ready, because I knew that if I said it to her, there was no going back. And that's what pre-paving looks like. Not having it all figured out, just saying the thing out loud so the truth is out there. So the truth has been heard, and so the path back into hiding becomes longer than the path forward. The next day, I flew back to Mallorca. I walked through the doors of our house, and I told my husband that I was leaving. Welcome to the 12 out of 10. I'm Nadia Oliveira, psychologist, life reinvention coach, single mom in Mallorca. And this podcast is for the woman who's intelligent, who's capable, who's done the inner work, read the books, and is still quietly, persistently not living a life that fully feels like hers. For the woman who knows there's more. In my experience, there are 4 stages every woman goes through in creating her 12 out of 10 life. A life that truly turns her on. In stage 1, we talked about noticing the settling, the numbing, the 9 p.m. pattern. Stage 2 is about reclaiming the desire, what you actually want underneath all the reasons why you can't have it. And in today's episode, we're gonna do a deep dive into stage number 3, the brave choice. You know how everyone and their mother nowadays is telling you to leave your comfort zone, make the brave choice, trust yourself, leap into the unknown? You've heard it 1,000 times. But nobody tells you how to actually do that when your brain is firing 90 reasons an hour, why right now is not the right time, why it might be the wrong decision, why you should wait just a little longer, why it's actually a stupid idea in the first place. We call it the comfort zone. But let's be honest, it's not that comfortable in there. It's just familiar. Everything you want lives on the other side of the comfort zone. The desire you reclaimed in stage number 2. The life you can feel in your bones but haven't allowed yourself to fully step into yet. The relationship, the freedom, the aliveness, all of it is waiting on the other side of one brave choice. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. You're going to walk out of this episode remembering, first of all, who the F you are, and be at least 1% more ready to take the leap into your next reality. Here's what is actually happening in your body when you are about to make a brave choice. And I want to give you the neuroscience of this because understanding it changed everything for me. Your brain's primary job is not to make you happy. It's not to help you grow. It is to keep you alive. And to your brain, alive means familiar. Familiar means safe. And safe means stay exactly where you are. Every thought you have, every feeling, every habit, every pattern creates a neural pathway in your brain. And the more you repeat something, the more grooved that pathway becomes. What was once a little trail has become a highway over years of driving down that road. And your body, your biochemistry, gets used to a very specific set of emotions, a very specific chemical cocktail that matches the life you have been living. So when you're about to make a brave choice, when you're about to step into something genuinely new, your body does not say congratulations. It fires a freaking alarm. It sends every signal it has to get you back to the familiar. Anxiety, doubt, fear, catastrophic thinking, the sudden certainty that this is the worst idea you've ever had. And this feels really freaking uncomfortable. But the alarm is not a sign that you're making the wrong choice. The alarm is basically just a sign that you're making a new one. And this is why everyone can tell you to leave your comfort zone. You can even know that you want to leave your comfort zone and still don't do it. Because knowing you should leave it and having your nervous system screaming, "Get back in!" are two completely different conversations happening in two completely different areas of your brain. And the thing is, the discomfort is not danger. It's just newness. And your body literally cannot tell the difference between the two until you show it repeatedly that new things are survivable. And that's why bravery is a practice. Bravery is not a feeling you wait to have. It's a practice you build. So your brain is firing. The alarm is going. Every cell in your body is screaming, "This is too much, this is too soon, this is too risky. Wait, think about it again. Not yet, not yet." And now what? Here's the thing nobody tells you. You do not wait for the alarm to stop, because the alarm won't stop. Not before the brave choice. Not for anyone. The women you admire who seem to make the bold decisions effortlessly, their alarm was going. They just decided to move while it was going off. There are two images that have helped me so much over the years when it comes to fear and brave decisions. You are not your fear. You are not your thoughts. You're the one being able to observe them. And honestly, how cool is that? And I need you to hear this. You are not your fear. You are not your thoughts. You are the one actually being able to observe them. And how cool is that? So I really love the image of all of us being in the car. And whenever I avoid making a brave decision, I imagine fear sitting in the driver's seat because fear is driving, so I'm not making the decision. And the minute I decide to take fear off the driver's seat and put it in the back seat, she's invited to come along for the ride. But I'm the one driving. Everything changes. She can be part of it. I can listen to her, but I'm driving. And she's obviously not in charge of the music either. And then there's a second image I love so much, and my sister brought it into my life a couple of years ago. And the image basically is, instead of waiting for fear to be gone, being brave means taking it by the hand and doing a freaking cannonball with it. It's not about jumping elegantly, not about jumping confidently. It's just taking fear by the hand and jumping with it together into the unknown. Not knowing how you land, but jumping anyhow. And here's what I know about landing. You always land. Maybe not where you planned, maybe not exactly how you imagined, but you land. And every time you land, you build something that no amount of thinking or planning or waiting can give you. You build trust in yourself. Not the trust you need before you jump. The trust you actually earn from having jumped in the first place. Trust works backwards. You do not get it first and then act. Acting is what actually builds it. And the more times you jump, the more evidence you gather that you always survived the landing, that the alarm was not right, that you are way more capable than your comfort zone has been telling you. And this is how bravery becomes a practice. Not by becoming fearless, but by becoming someone who moves anyway. By doing it once and then again and again and again until it becomes muscle memory. until every muscle in your body knows what to do, even when the brain is screaming, stop it, don't move, stay here. And one of the most powerful things you can do in that moment when the alarm is going off is pre-paving the way forward. Telling someone before you have a plan, saying it out loud before you're ready, making an investment that makes going back more painful than going forward, creating the conditions where the brave choice becomes the path of least resistance. But because you're smart enough to know the power of accountability, because that version of you, the 9 p.m. version that wants to rather start on Monday, or the version of you who thinks like, let's do this in 4 weeks, will crop up. And accountability can be the reminder to still do the thing that scares you. And that's exactly what I did on that city walk with my sister after the keynote. I pre-paved. I said it out loud before I was ready, so that silence and backing out was no longer an option. You are the sum of the decisions you make every single day. And that's not just a motivational phrase. It's basically neuroscience. Every decision either reinforces the neural pathway of who you have been, or it begins to carve a new one toward who you are becoming. The small decisions and the big ones. Not having the chocolate when you promised yourself you wouldn't. Sending the message you've been drafting in your head for 3 weeks. Showing up for the thing you actually said you would show up for. Booking the personal trainer instead of telling yourself you will start next Monday again and again and again, trying to figure out everything by yourself. Every single one of those is a vote. I am the woman who does what she says she's going to do. I am the woman who bets on herself. I'm the woman who chooses truth over comfort. And then there are the decisions that change everything. When my son was 6 months old and I was on maternity leave, but also building my first company, I invested 48,000 euros in business coaching. Let me say that again. 6 months old baby, maternity leave, 48,000 euros. I could only afford 2 installments at the time. I had no guarantee it would work, and I did not feel ready. My brain was firing every alarm it had. This is too much, this is too soon, this is too risky, you are reckless, you are stupid, you don't even know if this will work. And I made the investment anyway. Not because I had certainty, not because I had proof, but because I asked myself one question. Would the woman I want to become, the successful businesswoman, make this investment? So I made it before I was her yet. I decided to become her through the decision itself. We made those 48,000 euros back within 2 months. But here's what I want you to hear. The money coming back was not the biggest thing. The statement I made to myself was, I'm someone who bets on herself before she has proof. I'm someone who invests in her own becoming before it's guaranteed. That decision did not just change my business. It changed who I was. And the same thing happened with my body transformation. After recovery from bulimia in my early 20s, the 12 out of 10 was about loving my body exactly as it is. Stop the constant trying to change it. And then in my 30s, I found myself actually gaslighting the desire to step into my sexiest, healthiest, and trained version. So I quietly tried changing my diet, did a cleanse here and there, went down the biohacking rabbit hole, until last year I decided to own the desire and make a loud choice by going all in and investing into a personal trainer. 6 kilos and the identity of the woman who doesn't even think about going to the gym anymore because it's become her second nature to do that. I have never looked or felt better. And that's what every brave decision does. It doesn't just change your external circumstances. It changes your internal identity. Because you cannot make a decision that costs you something real and then go back to being the same person who was afraid of making it. A new personal reality requires a new personality, new thoughts, new feelings, new actions. You cannot keep making the same decisions and expect to be living a different life. Your new life is going to cost you your old one. My Greek grandpa, Papu, had this beautiful way of talking about the decisions that do not work out the way you planned. He called them seminars. And I remember him saying to me, Nadia, just another expensive seminar you did. Because even the decisions that look wrong from the outside, they teach you something. And you make them right by what you do with what you learned. There is no such thing as a wrong, brave decision. There's only the next seminar. And I love this perspective because for me it means I cannot go on a wrong date. Every date I go on, even if it's a frog, teaches me something about the thing that feels right for me. Every failed investment was not a failed investment because I learned something on the way, even if it was just to trust myself and my intuition more than any coach. Every time I said yes and meant no was a seminar on how important it is for me to hold up my standards. Even the abusive relationship, I don't think it was wrong for me to not leave for such a long time because it was exactly the seminar I needed for learning self-worth. Here's something I want you to know about brave choices. They do not stop. You cannot get it wrong and you'll never get it done. The bigger the life you build, the bigger the choices get. Just like desire keeps evolving, bravery keeps being required. You get more used to jumping. Yeah, the muscle gets stronger, but it will still feel scary. Starting this brand, Nadia Loves Life, the 12 out of 10, after already having a successful brand with my sister, felt completely stupid. Why would you blow up something that works? Why would you start from zero when you already have something? And the answer is simply because the knowing would not let me ignore it anymore. And that's also a choice. To become the woman who doesn't ignore the knowing anymore. To stop pretending you do not hear it. To let it lead you even when your brain is calling it the worst idea you've ever had. Because if there's one thing I know, you get better at jumping. The jump still feels like a jump and it still feels scary. And you do it anyway. And here's one more thing I want to say before we close. Not deciding is also deciding. Every day you stay in the job that is draining you, you are making a decision. Every day you stay in the relationship you know has run its course, you're making a decision. Every day you say, not yet, not now, maybe when things are clearer, you are making a decision. You are deciding to stay. And staying has a cost. Not a dramatic, obvious cost. The quiet cost. The slow dimming. The version of yourself you're not becoming while you're actually waiting to feel ready. It's not just a big decision to leave. Sometimes it's a bigger decision to stay. And we've established this. The brave choice is not waiting for the alarm to stop. The alarm does not stop. You just learn over time that you can move while it is going off. And you get to decide right now which decision you're actually making today. And here's what I know about the woman listening to this podcast. At some point, you stopped being able to ignore the knowing. You became someone who hears it and cannot pretend she doesn't. And that's not a burden. That is who you are becoming. The woman who chooses expansion over comfort, again and again, even when it feels like the stupidest idea in the room. Fear is invited to come along for the ride, but you're the one driving. Today's question, the one I want you to carry with you. The woman living the 12 out of 10 life I desire. What brave decision has she made? And how can I pre-pave the way? And if this question landed somewhere in your body, if there's something that came up while listening to that episode that you've been circling for a while, I want to talk to you. DM me the word 12 on Instagram at Nadia Loves Life to schedule your 12 out of 10 alignment call. It's not a say it's conversation. It's a real conversation about where you are, what you know already, and what actually might want to be said out loud. And if you want to start by getting completely honest about every area of your life and see how the 12 out of 10 version of you is living hers, what decisions she's making, and what you want to step into by making the brave choice, DM me audit and I'll send you the free 12 out of 10 audit on Instagram. I'll put the link in the show notes. I am so happy you're here. I love you. I'll see you next Tuesday. Adios.